got a slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your hand. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on. Let me pull you out. That fella bites hard, but it don't get the crown.
And Mike does not get unmuted anymore automatically. StreamYard, just fuck you. I don't know what else to say. Fuck everything. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. Toadstool Sports, whatever. Yesterday, you knew it was going to go horribly right away when we absolutely should have had the under correct in Cardinals-Phillies. It was a 4-run game, 4-0. 2 outs, bottom of the ninth. 4-0 St. Louis. How does that game not go under 8? Oh, yeah. How about Philly scores 6 runs, all with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth inning? And, of course, the first 5 would have hit the under. So if I limited it to the first 5, which I almost did, that would have been a winner. It obviously should have been a winner anyway. And 6 runs, all with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. And it took 5 for it to actually get over, 4 for the push. None of that should have happened. Even the worst bullpen in baseball is not going to do that, usually. Like the A's or whatever. You have to be fucking kidding me. It's such bullshit. And then, yeah, Cubs, Seattle, just whatever, man. Bryce Miller could not even get a pitch over the plate. I don't know what to tell you. He walked like 7 guys, walked everybody. That was a complete disaster. The Chicago Sky, I mean, what do you want? Like, they couldn't shoot. Indiana shot really well. Indiana shot 53% from three-point range. They probably had at least, I don't know, 15 more threes than Chicago did, probably something like that. Like, you're never going to win a game when that happens. It's just, I don't know if Chicago deserved to win. I wouldn't say they did. I think they won the rebound battle, though. But when you have that much of a shooting disparity, there's nothing you can do. I'm so fucking sick of this. Like, it's so good the football's about to start because I can't do anything anymore in baseball, WNBA. But guess what we're doing today? Yeah, we're going to have a ton of plays today, even though it's a short baseball board, whatever. I'm going to give out a bunch of plays because I'm on tilt. I don't care anymore. After a 7-0 run, I think we've now lost 7 in a row. So just give it all back. Give it all back to the books. Yeah, that's what we do here. That's great. Let's lose some more money here. First game up is a play for me. Red Sox Marlins. Why not? Because these games have been working out so well. We're going to take this game under the 7.5. Why not? Miami, I believe they're staying at home. They did just sweep Washington. Miami is still trying to make the playoffs here. The Red Sox are in pretty good position to get a wild card spot at this point. So maybe there's a little bit more motivation on the Miami side. The Red Sox do have to travel, but it is the start of a road trip. Red Sox are playing well right now. They swept the Giants. They're on a 5-game win streak. Starting a road trip with momentum is usually not a terrible spot here. But I'm focusing on the pitching being all around the advantage in this game. Plus, it is Miami, so it is a pitcher-friendly ballpark. Boston used 2 relief pitchers yesterday, although it was their 2 best relievers currently with the injuries that they have. I'm still not too concerned about this bullpen, though, since they're the best in baseball, based on the metrics at least right now. Miami, they did use 4 guys out of the bullpen. but I'm still okay with with backing their bullpen here. Some of their better relievers are still available here. Red Sox number 1 in bullpen, Miami number 6 based on whip, although I don't think Miami's that good, but I think they're good enough to back here, especially if the starting pitching can get us deeper into this game. Red Sox are number 8th offensively, and they've been a pretty good road team. Miami number 9 offensively, but I think the pitching can outperform the hitting in this one. Roger Suarez is pitching for the Red Sox. 3.41 ERA, 1.18 whip. He's better on the road this year. 2.75 road ERA. Didn't pitch that well last time out against Arizona. He's kind of been shaky since he came back from injury, but they're ramping his pitch count up again. They're getting him back up to a full starter's workload. He is up to that again. So I'm willing to back him here, like even though his current form is not exactly great. 8-5 strikeout walk ratio this month is not really good, but he does have a low hit rate on the season, a low walk rate. His strikeout rate is still right at 1 per inning pretty much. So strikeout walk ratio, strikeout per 9, all those numbers are good. He's working his way back. I was a little bit concerned because Miami's going to be familiar with him because he was in their division when he was on Philly, but Miami has not done anything against him. This current Miami lineup has 6 hitters who have faced him, and they're 1 for 21 off him. Xavier Edwards has the only hit, which is a single, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, 0.48 average, 139 OPS. So I'll back Suarez here in his better home road split against a lineup that has done nothing against him, and he just needs to be decent enough here to get this. We're also going to back Sandy Alcantara on the other side here from Miami. 3.46 ERA, 1.18 whip. He's having a really nice bounce-back season here, even though his strikeout stuff is kind of gone. He's been better at home, so we're getting the better home road split on both pitchers here. 2.69 ERA at home. He's in pretty good form right now, except his strikeout rate has kind of gone down again over the last couple starts. It was up for a while. It's gone back down a little bit, but he's still not allowing many runs. I'm okay with that. His hit rate is fine on the season. His walk rate is okay. His strikeout rate is low, though, as I was alluding to. Strikeout walk ratio is still not that bad because he doesn't really walk that many guys. His strikeout per 9 is at its lowest in his career. It is what it is, man. He's a guy that's post Tommy John surgery or whatever, but he is still pitching effectively, and the Red Sox have not really done a whole lot against him. They have 29 at-bats against him, a 207 average, 603 OPS, 9-2 strikeout walk ratio. So we'll take the under here. The money seems to agree with this. 65% of tickets on the over, 85% of the cash on the under. 7.5 is the number basically across the board here. You might have to pay a little bit of juice for it, but I'd be willing to do that. As far as the side, the money is backing Miami. The Red Sox have 84% of the tickets, 65% of the cash on Miami. Red Sox around minus 130. I could see the argument for it. I mean, I think if you play Miami, maybe first 5 makes more sense. Miami might be a little bit more motivated because they're probably the more desperate team as far as the playoff positioning is concerned. And Suarez, I'm not sure that I would fully trust his current form versus Alcantara's. So I'm trusting it well enough to get the under here, though. But I think Alcantara's in the better current form. But under is the play there. No, as I just said, there's no way I would take the Red Sox. Absolutely not. No. If I was going to play the side in that game, I would play Miami first 5. But under, I think, is definitely the better way to play that game, as it is a play for me. So the money is completely disagreeing with the Red Sox in that game. Tampa Bay and Detroit on Fox Sports 1. Detroit is returning home from a road trip, and they might be dead. Like, that was a horrible road trip for them. They got swept by the Royals to finish the road trip. I mean, it doesn't get worse than that. They might be done, dude. Like, what else can I say? Like, they had to win that series against the Royals to kind of stay in this. They're not technically eliminated, but I think that's it for Detroit. I think it's a dream crusher type of scenario here. Return home. You know I don't like the return home spot. I think teams get distracted. They have to get back to home life. Maybe they'll get up because they're playing Tampa, and Tampa is the team with the best record in the American League still, but things are not looking good for Detroit, and they do not have the starting pitching edge in this game either, so there is not a lot to like about Detroit in this game. Although the matchup numbers actually suggest that maybe they can kind of hang around with the starting pitching matchup. But on the surface, just looking at who the pitchers are, Tampa has the better pitcher on the mound. Detroit used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Tampa used 3 as well. Tampa is coming off a series against Baltimore. Tampa ended a 3-game losing streak, actually, so they avoided the sweep yesterday with the win over Baltimore. And, of course, because I can't get anything right, of course I was right about the under in that game yesterday, and it didn't make the cut for me. So isn't that just great? Now Tampa Bay is coming into Detroit here with maybe a little bit of new momentum here. Tampa's ranked 4th in bullpen, although their ERA suggests that they're not quite that good. Detroit is 15th, but they have a better bullpen ERA, so I think the bullpens are kind of a toss-up here. Tampa Bay is 6th offensively, Detroit 13th, although Tampa Bay is not very good on the road. They're much, much better at home than on the road. Detroit is better at home, I believe, even still. So Detroit is a better home team, but still, I do not like the spot for Detroit. Drew Rasmussen is pitching for Tampa, and he is their best pitcher. 3.01 ERA, 0.95 whip is really good. He's better on the road as well, 2.79 road ERA. Not great in his last start against Toronto, which may be a red flag, I guess, because Toronto is not a good offense. But to me, it looks more fluky than anything else. Like, he's still pitching well. His command numbers have been good. His team has won whatever this is, 6 starts in a row for him, starting around the All-Star break. He's got a low hit rate, low walk rate, high strikeout rate. All those numbers are good. Strikeout walk ratio is really up there, one of the highest that he's posted. The highest that he's posted, given the amount of innings pitched that he's pitched this year. Strikeout per 9 is also kind of in that vicinity as well. One of the highest that he's had with this amount of innings that he's thrown. His numbers against Detroit, however, this is where, because I was thinking maybe Tampa's a play here, but his numbers against Detroit are awful. In 23 at-bats, I know it's not a big sample size. 6 hitters have faced him, but they've been able to get to him. 391 average, 1,025 OPS, 5-1 strikeout walk ratio. Ratio's good, but everything else doesn't look good here. And while I don't want to overrate these matchup numbers, and maybe I do overrate them, but this is kind of keeping me off the game a little bit. Even though Rasmussen clearly is a better pitcher over Framber Valdez here, and Tampa is in the better spot here, I just don't think I could do it given that the matchup numbers go completely opposite that. Framber Valdez has not really had a great season for Detroit. 4.35 ERA, but his 1.4 whip is very ugly. Although he is better at home, 4.3 home ERA, better opponent batting average at home. He's in bad current form, though. He's walking a ton of guys. 9 guys walked over his last 2 starts with 8 strikeouts. Not good. His strikeout walk ratio over the course of August is not really even that much better than that. He's given up too many hits on the season as well, and his walk numbers very hefty. His strikeout rate is kind of down, too. Like, these numbers are not good. He's at one of his lowest strikeout walk ratios he's ever posted. His strikeout per 9 is also at the lowest that it's been. Yeah, not a good season for him. Numbers against Tampa Bay, however, are actually good. In 54 at-bats, 222 average, 659 OPS, 13-5 strikeout walk ratio. So while initially I was looking at this and thinking Tampa Bay has to be the side here. Like, Detroit's returning home, bad spot. They might be dead after that sweep against the Royals. Maybe it's a bounce back spot for them, I guess, because that was so embarrassing, and maybe they get up for playing Tampa. Rasmussen, though, he's overall the better pitcher over Valdez. There's no question about that. The issue I have is the matchup numbers that we just saw. I think I'd still just lean Tampa here, but I'm going to stay off the game. Tampa is getting the money, 81% of tickets, 88% of the cash on them. They're a public side, too, though. Looks like maybe public and professionals all on that side. They're minus 130 or so. I mean, maybe Tampa first 5 makes sense as well because you can't really tell which bullpen is really the one that has the advantage. The money's also kind of indicating on the under 7.5 in that game. I don't have a feel for the total, really, because it seems like there are just factors that go both ways there. All right, Colorado and Washington. But yeah, I think the spot is the way that I would play that still. And I would lean towards Tampa Bay and still lean into Rasmussen being the overall better pitcher, but I don't like the matchup numbers for it. Washington is returning home from a road trip. a bad road trip. They were on the road for a long time. They went to New York to play the Mets, then Texas, then Miami, and now they're returning home. And I always talk about it again. I'm going to mention it. Distracted spot possibly in the return home here. I don't feel that the teams usually bounce back from a bad road trip. I think it's more often that they get distracted, especially because they're playing Colorado here. Like, who's going to get up for Colorado? Basically no one. So I don't think it's a good spot for Washington to try to be focused here. They're pretty much done on the season. I mean, they sold at the trade deadline. So you're looking at two teams that are both kind of done here. You're looking at two bad bullpens. Colorado is starting a road trip. They were just at home. They just got swept for the second straight series. So they've lost 6 games in a row. Both teams are ice cold right now, just like me. This could be a series where maybe you'll look for some overs. I'm not going to do it in this game, though, because one of the starting pitchers is too good for that. But possibly because the bullpens are awful and the teams don't give a shit, probably. There might be some overs coming home in this series. Colorado used 5 relief pitchers yesterday. Not good for a bullpen that's already not good. Washington only used 2. Both bullpens are bad. Colorado 27th, Washington 26th, though their ERA is slightly worse. It's debatable which bullpen is worse than the other, but they're both bad. Both offenses are good. Washington 3, Colorado 4. So that is, again, it looks like the makings for an over type of series with pretty good hitting and not very good pitching for the most part. Ryan Feltner is pitching for Colorado. He's not very good. 5.97 ERA, 1.53 whip. He is better on the road in some ways. 5.54 road ERA. But his opponent batting average on the road is actually worse, 307. So in some ways, he's not actually better away from Coors Field. He was bad in his last start at home against the Dodgers. I mean, the Dodgers, they hit, though. We know that. But Feltner's been walking a ton of guys. He's got a 10-10 strikeout walk ratio this month with too many hits allowed on top of that. None of that is good. He's got a high hit rate. His walk rate isn't too bad on the season. Strikeout rate is quite low, though, so his strikeout walk ratio is really ugly anyway. Strikeout per 9 is the lowest that it's been in his career. Those numbers are not good. His numbers against Washington, they haven't really seen him. They have 2 guys who have faced him. Abrams and Ruiz are 0 for 6 combined off him. No strikeouts, no walks. Not a lot that you can really gauge from that, but I don't think Feltner is going to pitch particularly well here. However, Cade Cavalli is pitching for Washington. He's actually good. 3.22 ERA, 1.22 whip. He's having his breakout season this year. Pretty high strikeout walk ratio here. High strikeout per 9. He's in really good form recently. A ton of strikeouts recently. Double digits in the last 2 starts. Washington's won 6 of his last 7 starts. He's not allowing many runs across that span at all. More than 2 only once, going all the way back into early July. Fairly low hit rate here, pretty low walk rate, high strikeout rate as well, so all those numbers are good. Cavalli against Colorado, they have 23 at-bats against him, and he has the upper hand against them. 174 average allowed, 435 OPS, 5.0 strikeout walk ratio. So while it is a bad spot for Washington, they have the upper hand in the matchup here, so I can't really fade Washington here. Cavalli is clearly better than Feltner. Washington's about minus 180, though. 88% of the tickets, 90% of the cash on them. Money, I mean, it's basically just a public side on Washington, and I guess you could argue that money is kind of indicating on the over 8 here. I mean, I wouldn't want to take this game under. I think for the majority of pitching is still bad in this game. It's just Cavalli is a good pitcher, and everybody else who's probably entering this game is not. Maybe individual relievers might be, but I don't know, man. I still think maybe Washington first 5 would be the only way I'd be able to play this, but there's no way that I could do that in like a return home spot, whatever. But you have to lay a half run probably with Washington if you play them in the first 5, but maybe that is the right way to play it. Texas at Chicago White Sox. White Sox are staying at home. They just beat the Mets to win that series. Both of these teams have something to play for here, man. Texas is probably playing with more urgency because they're tied atop the AL West right now and in the wild card race, whereas the White Sox are atop their division right now, so they have more ways to get into. Well, both teams have kind of a similar amount of ways to make the playoffs. but Chicago has a bigger amount of padding in their division. So Texas might have more motivation here, more urgency. Texas is starting a road trip, which a lot of times is a focus spot. They're coming off beating the Angels in that last series. So some things have me looking towards Texas in this game. Texas, I don't love their bullpen, though. They used 4 guys yesterday, and some of their better relievers came into the game yesterday to close it out. White Sox kind of went with a bullpen-ish game yesterday, but they only used 3 guys, probably because they used, I would guess, Fetty or something probably came into the game. I don't know if it was him, but somebody probably came into the game and ate up some innings for them. Bullpen-wise, White Sox are number 14. Texas is number 19. White Sox have had the better bullpen this year, so they do probably have a bullpen edge here. White Sox are 10th offensively, tied with Houston. They're definitely the better offense here. Rangers are 23rd. However, Texas, I think, might have the motivational edge, and I think they have a starting pitching advantage here, too, even though that is Kumar Rocker for Texas, who is not that good. 4.46 ERA, 1.4 whip is really not good. However, he is a little bit better on the road, 3.97 road ERA, which makes no sense because Texas is a better pitching ballpark, although his opponent batting average on the road is actually worse. So I guess take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. He's walking too many guys recently, although his last start was pretty good against Washington. Maybe he's kind of coming back into form a little bit here. I don't fully trust his strikeout walk ratio, though, in the month of August, plus the fact that his team's lost all 4 of his starts, and his hit rate has been way too high. On the course of the season, his hit rate is very mediocre. His walk rate is mediocre as well. His strikeout rate is also mediocre, so none of that is really that good. Strikeout walk ratio is not great. Strikeout per 9 is mediocre, like I said. A lot of mediocrity here from him, although his whip is kind of worse than mediocre. However, Rocker is actually not bad against the White Sox. In fact, he's kind of dominated them. They have 30 at-bats against him. They only have 2 hits, no extra base hits, 8 strikeouts, 2 walks. That's an 0.67 average, 192 OPS. Rocker seems like he might be drawing a pretty good matchup here. A team that just hasn't been able to do anything offensively against him. And the White Sox look like they're going with another bullpen game, sort of, because they have Jose Urquidy listed as their starter here. He has a 9 ERA at home, by the way. A lot of this, I think, coming out of the bullpen. 5.06 ERA, 1.5 whip. None of that is good. The White Sox picked him up from Pittsburgh, though, so he was pitching poorly in Pittsburgh before he came here. He's only made road appearances so far for the White Sox. But the White Sox are kind of using him as a starter's workload type of guy. And he has 11 strikeouts and no walks with them, which isn't really too bad. He pitched really well last time out against the Cubs, like shockingly well. I don't think that's what he's typically going to do, though. You know, like that looks more like an outlier to me than anything else. Maybe a big game that he got up for. I would not trust him, and I'm not even convinced the White Sox are going to start him. He didn't actually start in that Cubs game. He came in after probably an opener. So I would say if you're going to play this game, I would lean to Texas here. I would pick Rocker must start, but I would not pick a starter for the White Sox here. That's how I would play this if I was going to play this game. Urquidy, yeah, I mean, his strikeout walk ratio is good, but he's been hittable. He hasn't pitched that much this year, but I think he was probably hurt for months here because I don't think he was, maybe he was in the minors or something, I'm not sure, but I don't really trust him. He's been around for a while. His numbers against Texas are not good either. They have 26 at-bats against him, 308 average, 1,000 OPS. So, yeah, I think Texas is the way to look in this game. As far as the situation is concerned, not much to see there. White Sox are staying at home. But like I said, I think more urgency maybe from the Texas side here. I think Rocker is preferable to whatever the hell the White Sox are doing. So I would take Texas. Maybe I would take them first 5, though. Although if it's a bullpen game for the White Sox, I guess you could argue for the full game here as well. I really don't like Texas' bullpen, though. So maybe Texas first 5. The White Sox are favored around minus 130, so I think if you take Texas first 5, you're probably still going to get them as a little bit of an underdog there, so maybe that's the way to play it, is Texas money line in the first 5, and probably you get a little bit of plus money on that. 74% of tickets, 72% of the cash on the White Sox. Public is on the White Sox. I mean, they like the team with the better record and the better offense, so that's where they're at. But Texas is the team that has the actual starter in the game and more urgency. Although I don't know if I fully trust Rocker, though. I mean, you saw his recent numbers. Not great. But his numbers against the White Sox are very good. The money's also indicating on the over 8.5 to some extent here. But, I mean, I could see the argument for it. I mean, you have pitchers that are pretty questionable there, so I wouldn't want to be on an under in that game, I'll tell you that. Maybe a slight lean for me to the over, but I like Texas as the way to play that game. Cleveland at Anaheim. Two bad offenses. That's kind of where we start with this series. This might be an under type of series here. Anaheim's returning home from a road trip. They're having to go from the Central Time Zone back to the Pacific Time Zone. No, I talk about that. When teams have to go back out west, adjusting to that time zone difference can be a little bit of an issue because then you're going to be playing later on your biological clock. So that's not great. Cleveland was just in the mountain time zone, so their adjustment is going to be a little bit less. They're playing well right now, and Cleveland has reason to play because they're trying to still make the playoffs. All Anaheim has is playing spoiler at this point. And you know I don't like return home spots. Again, a bad team like Anaheim returning home from 2 divisional series on the road, big series where they had a chance to play spoiler, and they did beat the Astros on that road trip. I think it's not a good spot for Anaheim. I don't know if they're really going to be that focused to play Cleveland here after coming off those divisional series. So I think it's a negative spot for Anaheim for all those reasons I just listed. Could be a distracted spot. Plus, you're going to get the better pitcher for Cleveland. So I think probably the way to look at this game is to play Cleveland, but you have to pay a price for it because basically the odds makers know that everybody knows that Cleveland needs to win the game. Cleveland used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. They do have the better bullpen than Anaheim. Anaheim used 3. Cleveland is ranked 17th in bullpen, but they do have a sub-4 ERA. Anaheim is 20th, although their ERA is worse. Yeah, their ERA is above 4. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Cleveland's been awful offensively. They're 29th, tied in last, actually, with the Mariners. Angels are really not much better, though. They're 27th, tied with the Blue Jays, and the Angels do not hit well at home. So I think the Angels' hitting might be very limited in this game because they have to go up against Parker Messick, who's had a really good season, 2.54 ERA, 1.03 whip. He's actually better on the road, too. 2.31 road ERA. He's still pitching well. He had 10 strikeouts last time out against the Giants, allowed 1 run in 6 2/3 innings. He doesn't seem to be done yet, man, even though he's approaching that 150-inning mark there where I get worried because a lot of these young guys, when they throw more innings than they usually do or than they ever have, it gets a little bit concerning, but I'm not sure that there's reason to be concerned with him right now because he does not seem to be fading. He's got a 30-4 strikeout walk ratio this month, which is really excellent. Good hit rate on the season, pretty good walk rate, good strikeout rate as well. Those numbers are all good. Good strikeout walk number, good strikeout per 9. All those numbers are good. And against Anaheim, he's had the upper hand here. They have 5 guys who have faced him, 15 at-bats, 200 average, 694 OPS. Nito has done some damage and does have a home run off him, but like nobody else in this lineup has really done anything. 5-2 strikeout walk ratio there. So I think Messick does set up to pitch well here. George Clausen is pitching for Anaheim. I think this is a real wild card here that Anaheim has going. He has a 3.74 ERA. I believe he's a rookie this year, and he's been kind of all over the place. His whip is horrible, 1.62, so that indicates his ERA should be way worse than it is. However, if you look at what he's been doing, he was really shaky. He's only made 5 starts in his career, and Anaheim has actually won 4 of those 5 games. He was shaky the first 2 times, then the last 3 times out, he's only allowed 3 runs over a combined 17 innings. And he just had a 1-hit 7-inning shutout against Houston last time out. His last 2 starts have both been excellent. Although his walk rate's a little bit concerning here. But he's starting to pitch well. Clausen might not be that bad, man. He's seeming like he's improving and he's in good form right now. Has a reasonable hit rate here so far. His strikeout rate is okay, too. It's just his walk rate is way too high. So that's one thing. He's got to fix that. If he fixes his walk issue, I think he'd be pretty good. but that's keeping his strikeout walk number in a very bad place. His strikeout per 9 is pretty good, though, so he's able to strike guys out. His numbers against Cleveland, I don't think they've seen him. Nathaniel Lowe has faced him, and he's 1 for 2 with a double, 3 RBIs, but no strikeouts and no walks. But that's a small sample. So you're looking at a Cleveland offense that's really bad, like bottom of the league offense, and they haven't faced Clausen, and he's pitching well right now. So he might have an advantage here. Given that they haven't seen him, they might have to figure him out on the fly. I think the under might be the best way to play this game. Maybe under in the first 5, I guess. The total's low at 7.5, and it's low for a reason, man. I mean, you're looking at 2 very bad offenses here. I don't know if I trust the bullpens, but I think the starting pitching might be able to get this done. If you do full game, you're getting under the 7.5. Of course, if it's a first 5, you're getting a little bit, you're having to probably look at a 3.5 there in the first 5, which I hate that. Maybe you'll find a 4 on it. As far as Cleveland, I don't really think they're playable at this price. Minus 160 something, 90% of tickets, 92% of the cash on them. They're very public, although Cleveland would be the only side that I would look at here, though. I think the situation sets up way better for them, and Messick is a more proven pitcher, plus they have the bullpen edge, so I would still lean Cleveland, like making like a -1 run line or something. But asking a Cleveland offense to do that on the road, I don't know. I mean, they were able to do it against the Rockies, but that's a more hitter-friendly environment too. But yeah, I think the under in the first 5 might actually be the better way to play this game. 68% of tickets on the under, 82% of the cash on the over, though. So the money's playing the over in the full game. I don't trust the bullpens quite enough. Well, really, Anaheim's worries me. Well, you know what? I don't know. I mean, Anaheim's isn't really that bad. I don't know. I'm torn. I like the under here, but I can see going full game or first 5 on it. And I think offenses tend to struggle a little bit more in return home spots as well. So I think that actually does help the case of the under a little bit as well there. So that's what I got with that game. Cubs in Arizona. Arizona's staying at home. They just beat the Reds. Arizona has something to play for because they're fighting for a wild card spot. Cubs are technically also fighting for a wild card spot or potentially their division, but the Cubs have a better record here, so the Cubs are sitting pretty well here right now. So I think Arizona is going to have a bigger sense of urgency here. The Cubs just beat the Mariners. Don't remind me. They salvaged the last game of that series. The Cubs are only having to travel in from Seattle, so that's not too bad. The Cubs are the better of these 2 teams here. They do have the better bullpen, in my opinion. Cubs used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Arizona used a ton. Arizona used 6, and it was not an extra inning game. So the Cubs do have a bullpen edge. They're the better bullpen, and they're rested. Even though Arizona's ranked 9th, the Cubs are ranked 11th. Arizona's got a worse ERA by like 0.3 runs. So, yeah, I would favor the Cubs bullpen. Cubs offense is also better. They're number 1 in offense right now, by the way, arranged by OPS after that explosion yesterday. They're one of the top offenses. Maybe they're still not as good as LA, but they're up there. Arizona's been hitting better since the All-Star break. They're 15th right now in the course of the season. So we do have offenses that are in decent form here, and I do think we have some kind of questionable starters here. So possibly an over would be worth consideration in this game. Kevin Gausman is getting the start for the Cubs. He has not had a good season. 4.58 ERA, 1.3 whip. He was starting to pitch poorly for Toronto, which is kind of surprising because he's been a pretty good pitcher throughout his career, but he's been bad on the road this year. 5.48 road ERA, that's not good. He's made 4 starts with the Cubs, and the first 2 of them were good, and then the last 2 of them were not good. So he's not really in good form right now. Although his strikeout-walk ratio does remain pretty good, so it's just he's been way too hittable over his last 2 starts. I don't know or really 3 of the last 4. So even though Gausman is not really walking guys, yeah, he's just getting hit too hard, which is kind of a problem, and it's kind of been there all season. His hit rate is too high on the season. His walk rate's not too bad. His strikeout rate is pretty good as well. So his strikeout-walk ratio is not going to be bad here. But, yeah, it's fine. But his strikeout rate, well, his strikeout rate is also pretty good. The problem is he's getting hit too hard. So I don't know, man. Maybe at his old age, he's just becoming hittable all of a sudden. I don't like that. I don't like his current form, although he's generally good against Arizona. They have 81 at bats against him, so this is a big sample here. 210 average, 561 OPS, 13-6 strikeout walk ratio, though, so not a great ratio there, but 3 of the walks are Arenado. He kind of pitches around him. So Gausman does match up well here. I don't know if I trust him, though, because he's been really bad on the road this year, and he's not pitching well right now. And then on the other side, we have Merrill Kelly. If you want to talk about bad home run splits and bad current form, those apply to him in this game, too. He's got a 5.37 ERA, 1.52 whip is really bad. He's been really bad at home, 6.24 home ERA, which I was just alluding to. He's not pitching well either this month. He has more walks than strikeouts. He's getting hit too hard. He's allowed 6 runs apiece in his last 2 starts against Colorado and Boston, although the Red Sox offense has been good recently. But yeah, this is not good stuff here. Kelly looks like he's kind of falling apart too. So you have 2 aging pitchers here who almost kind of look like they're kind of falling off a cliff here, man, especially Kelly. So I don't know. His hit rate is too high. His walk rate's too high. His strikeout rate's really low. These are some really bad numbers. His strikeout walk ratio is horrendously bad, and it's been pretty good throughout his career. Like, he's had a good career, and just all of a sudden this year, he's been horrible. Yeah, not good. And his strikeout rate is way down this year, way lower than it ever has been. I think he's going to retire, man. I mean, this is just bad stuff. And he's going up against a very good Cub offense, although he's actually been good against them in his career, but that's because he's had a good career. But do you trust Kelly in the current form against them? I don't think I do. He's got 112 at-bats against them, 241 average, allowed 675 OPS, 23-11 strikeout walk ratio is not very good. I think the over is the way to play this game. Even though both pitchers have good matchup numbers, I don't want to overrate those, where sometimes they do have a tendency to do that. But yeah, I just think the over makes the most sense to me in this game. The total's pretty high. It's at 9. It's a hitter-friendly park. Arizona's bullpen's used up. I don't trust either of these pitchers. They're bad home road splits here, both of them. They're in bad current form, both of them. We have 57% of tickets on the under for some reason, 84% of the cash on the over. Seems like the actual money is playing the over. I think that's what I would do. The money seems to be kind of backing the Cubs, although they're also public. 87% of tickets, 90% of the cash on them. They're up to about a minus 140 favorite here. I would lean towards the Cubs here. I think Gausman is still more trustworthy than Kelly. Cubs generally are the better team, have the better bullpen, better offense, although Arizona does, like I said, Arizona does have more motivation, I would say here, though. But yeah, I think the best way to play that game is the over. And I think I would not try to figure out the side really in that one. Minnesota and the A's. This game, the A's just won the last 2 games against the Astros. So the A's, after they were not being able to win anything, they just had 2 big divisional wins, both by 1 run. Now they're returning home. I think this is a bad spot for the A's. It could be a letdown spot off of those 2 wins, plus it's a return home spot, plus Central Time Zone back to the Western Pacific Time Zone. I mean, having to travel across multiple time zones and readjust to a later time zone could mess with their biological clock. The A's are still a bad team. They basically have no home advantage because they play in Sacramento. So right away, I'm like thinking, yeah, the A's look like they're definitely very fadeable in a spot like this, and I think that's true. So I am going to be leaning towards Minnesota in this one. Minnesota is not changing time zones. They're already in California. They just got swept by San Diego, and I don't think Minnesota's making it. As I already said, I said that before. Minnesota looked good recently and looked like they were making a run. I was still saying they're not going to make the playoffs. I don't think they're good enough. But this is a spot where Minnesota, I think, should win this game. They just got swept by San Diego. They're staying in the Pacific time zone here, which should help them have another edge over the A's here. The situational edge definitely goes to Minnesota here. Minnesota, I don't like their bullpen. They use 4 guys out of the bullpen, but the A's have the worst bullpen in baseball. They also use 4, but I don't want to trust either bullpen here. Minnesota's 28th. The A's are 29th, though the A's have the worst bullpen ERA still. Both offenses are okay. Minnesota 12th, the A's 16th, tied with the Phillies, though the A's kind of have dropped off offensively recently. the question is, can you trust Zebby Matthews if you want to back Minnesota here? I'm not so sure. He's better. I think he's better than his ERA looks. 5.12 ERA, 1.33 WHIP is not that bad, but he's really questionable on the road. I mean, that's putting it mildly. 7.13 road ERA. I don't know if I can come in and back him in a road start, you know. He is pitching okay recently. He had a good start last time out against the Braves. Minnesota's won his last 4 starts, and he's not allowing that many runs here, although he's only going about 5 innings here. So I think if you're going to play this game, I would say take Minnesota first 5, because Matthews will probably get you through that amount, and I would not want to deal with the bullpens. But yeah, Matthews is pitching okay recently. His hit rate is still too high on the season. His walk rate is okay. His strikeout rate is low, kind of. Although, again, I thought he was a better strikeout pitcher than this. He's not a huge fly ball pitcher, but he still has kind of allowed a lot of home runs here. So, like, his amount of fly balls is not high, really, which should be a good indicator for pitching in a stadium like this. It's a very hitter-friendly ballpark, but he allows too many home runs despite that. So, I don't know. That has me a little bit worried as well. His strikeout-walk ratio is worse than it was last year, although he's overall been a little bit better than he was last year, but his strikeout rate's come way down. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I mean, he's still a young pitcher. His numbers against San Diego. Not San Diego. The A's. I was going to say he's not good against San Diego. Against the A's, he's okay. They have 15 at-bats against him. Not a huge sample here. 7 hitters have faced him. 267 average, 686 OPS, 2-2 strikeout walk ratio. Those numbers lean a little bit towards Matthews here. I think I still prefer him over Jeffrey Springs, though. Even though Springs, I don't think he's as bad as his ERA makes him look either. 6.02 ERA. He was better than this last year and whatever. 1.48 WHIP is still not good, though. He doesn't pitch well in this stadium. 6.63 home ERA. He struggled in this stadium last year, too. Springs is a fly ball pitcher. Balls spring off of bats that face him. And he's allowed a ton of home runs, 29 home runs in 113 and 2/3 innings. He's allowed too many hits. His walk rate's not very good. His strikeout rate's not very good. These numbers are bad this year for him, man. And he doesn't pitch well in the stadium. He allows a lot of home runs in general, a lot of fly balls. So you want to talk about not being well suited for a stadium? Yeah, I would say Springs is not. Although he pitched well last time out, I believe he made a spot start, or maybe he came in after an opener against the Royals. He pitched fairly well in that one, although he didn't strike anybody out. But his walk rate's just been way too high recently. Like more strikeouts than walks over the last month. None of this looks good to me, really, even though he was okay last time out. Minnesota is going to be a better offense that he's having to face here than Kansas City is. He does do well against Minnesota, though, generally. 46 at-bats, 174 average, 442 OPS, 14-3 strikeout walk ratio. So those numbers do look actually pretty good. So if you go purely based on matchup, Springs would actually have a little bit of an edge against these hitters. But Springs is awful in the stadium. I think it's a terrible spot for the A's. Minnesota has the younger pitcher on the mound that has more upside. And, and Matthews, I think, is better suited to pitch in the stadium than Springs is, at least. I would say Minnesota first 5, but you're going to definitely have to pay for it. They're minus 150-something for the money line on the game. 79% of tickets, 88% of the cash on Minnesota. So the money seems to be leaning towards Minnesota. You're going to have to lay half a run with them in the first 5. I think that's the only real way to look at that. I still worry about Matthews on the road, though. I suppose the other way that you could look at this is to just take the over. I mean, I think pitching is pretty questionable in every phase of this game, pretty much. Money's indicating on the under, though. But 10.5, you're below that key number of 11. It's not that bad of a total. I mean, it's a total that makes sense in this stadium, so the over might be worth considering there. But I prefer Minnesota first 5 in that one. All right, Philadelphia and Seattle. I looked at this game, and I was like, yeah, this game looks totally like an under to me, pun intended, even though it's Seattle coming off a miserable game yesterday, 19-2. So yeah, Bryce Miller, by the way, his last 2 outings, his team lost 22-0 and 19-2. He didn't pitch well in either start. It wasn't all his fault, but he was bad. The bullpens were bad. The hitting was bad. I don't know what's going on here, man. Seattle did win that series, though, against the Cubs, and they're staying at home while Philadelphia has to travel all the way to the Pacific time zone for this. So even though it is the start of a road trip, Philly's hot right now. They've won 8 or 9 games in a row. I don't even want to be reminded of losing the under in that fashion yesterday with 6 ninth-inning, 2-out runs for Philly. Give me a fucking break, dude. Now they're starting a road trip, which usually is a positive. You're starting a road trip with momentum. However, traveling cross-country like this, like I said, to go to the Pacific time zone and have to adjust your biological clock, I don't really like Philly in a spot like this, man. So I'd be maybe leaning towards Seattle a little bit here. But obviously my thought in this game was the under. And I think the hitting can also be negatively affected, of course, by flipping time zones like that. Philadelphia only used 2 relief pitchers yesterday, so their bullpen, while it isn't good, it's kind of rested here. Seattle, because I don't think they had a save situation because they won in the bottom of the 9th. So Seattle used 3 relief pitchers. Their bullpen's not pitching well recently, but they do have some of their better relievers still available for today. I don't know if I would trust these bullpens, though. You got Philadelphia 18th in bullpen, Seattle 21st. So maybe a first 5 under makes more sense here. Philadelphia, offensively, they've been better recently, 16th, but they're not that good on the road. They're tied with the A's offensively right now. The old Philly team and the current Philly team, there you go, because the Athletics used to be Philadelphia, and now they're homeless. But Philly, yeah, their offense might take a little bit of a drop on the road in a pitcher-friendly park like Seattle. They've been better recently, and they're better at home, but in a Seattle ballpark like this, they might not do as well offensively. And Seattle has been putrid offensively. They're tied in last place with Cleveland, like I said. Not good. Zach Wheeler is getting the start for Philly. Really good season for him. 2.92 ERA, 1.01 whip. He's good on the road, 2.67 road ERA. However, he's not pitching as well recently. Like this month, his walk rate's gone up. He's still striking guys out, but he's allowing some runs here. His walk rate's gone up. He's not in his best form right now. He still has a really low hit rate on the season, low walk rate, high strikeout rate. Those numbers are all still really good, but maybe at his age, maybe the season's kind of taking its toll. He hasn't really thrown that many innings this year, though. He was hurt for a while. He's only thrown 120 and a third, so you wouldn't think that he was wearing down yet, although he is getting up there in age. And, of course, he's thrown way more innings than this in many seasons throughout his career. But his strikeout walk ratio is still good. His strikeout per 9 is still good. He's still a good pitcher generally, and I'm still going to lean towards him pitching well here. He's got good numbers against Seattle. They have 58 at-bats against them. I think only 7 guys have faced him. Robles has a lot of at-bats against them, more than half of these at-bats. They have 19 strikeouts, 3 walks against them, a 172 average, and 433 OPS. Wheeler has definitely had the upper hand against them. Logan Gilbert is pitching for Seattle. I think he's better than Bryce Miller, probably better than like a lot of the pitchers Seattle has in their rotation. I think Gilbert and Wu are still their best 2 starters here. Gilbert, 3.35 ERA, 1.01 whip, pretty good. His ERA at home's not as good, 4.01. And it's because of the home runs. 18 of the 20 home runs he's allowed have come at home this year, but it makes no sense because this is a pitcher-friendly park, and he's been better at home for like over a month now, so his home numbers have gotten better. Like his last few home starts have all been pretty good, so I don't think he's actually that bad at home, which usually Seattle's pitchers are better at home. Gilbert's in all right form here, although his walk rate, kind of like Wheeler's, his walk rate has gone up a little bit over his last few starts, although some of those were against some pretty good offenses here. Phillies is kind of a mediocre offense. He's got a low hit rate, pretty low walk rate here, high strikeout rate as well. All those numbers are good. Strikeout walk ratio, strikeout per 9, those all look good, even though they're actually a little bit down from the way he pitched the last couple of years. Gilbert against the Phillies, they have 93 at-bats against him, and Gilbert has done pretty well. 237 average, 661 OPS, 28-2 strikeout walk ratio. So I still think the under is the better way to play this. The money is indicating on the under. It's one of those dreaded 6.5 totals, and I really don't like the bullpens. So I don't think you'll be able to find the key number of 7. The F book, that's the bad merchandise store, does have a 7 at heavy juice to the under. I don't really want to do the 6.5, although it feels like whenever I say that, the game still goes under, which is kind of the way that it is. The odds makers, they're pretty much telling you this is going to be a pitching duel. 85% of the tickets on the over, 71% of the cash on the under, so the money is heavily indicating towards the under. I agree with it. I mean, you could look at the first 5, I guess, because I really don't like these bullpens. You're probably going to be looking at like a 3.5 or maybe even a 3 in the first 5, which I don't really want to do it, but I think that is the way I would play this game, is some sort of under here. Maybe first 5 is the best way to play it, especially because you're not even getting the key number 7 in the full game. Maybe you just look to the first 5 and take it under 3.5 if you can find it. 81% of tickets, 90% of the cash on Philly. I would slightly lean towards Seattle. And, I gave out Seattle as a play after that 22-0 loss, and they won the next game. So Seattle, possible bounce-back spot for them. They're also in desperation mode. Like, they're still trying to make the playoffs. Philly is sitting a lot better in their playoff positioning. Plus, I already told you, it's a bad biological clock spot for Philly here. Philly might look a little bit too good right now based on the way that they've been playing. I still think they're a bit overrated. Wheeler is one of the pitchers that they usually win behind, though. But again, something seems off with Wheeler recently, though. Although Gilbert, hasn't been at his best recently either. But yeah, I would still lean to Seattle slightly here. Probably full game. I think Seattle's bullpen is probably still better than Philly's. So maybe full game Seattle is a little bit of an underdog price. Might be worth a look as well. Dirty Sock, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. All right. I'm going to be right back. And then the last 2 games, you probably already know what I'm going to do, but I've a play on both of these last 2 games here. So a lot of plays for me today. I have a WNBA play as well because I'm on tilt. I don't give a shit anymore, man. We're going to have a losing WNBA season now because I'm just continuously getting fucked. I mean, what do you want? I can't get anything right at all. So had a winning WNBA season last year. I'm still up in the WNBA since starting to do it last year. I don't know. We could try to inch back towards being up in the WNBA this year. It's not going to be easy. I have to make more plays to make it happen, so I am going to give out a play. And nobody's going to like it either, but I'll be right back. Yep, inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. All right, this next game, we're going to take another under here in Pittsburgh, San Diego. We get a pitcher-friendly park here. Under 7.5 is out there. A little bit of juice. And while one of these starting pitchers I really like and the other one I really don't, but I still think this is an under in this game here. Pittsburgh, they're pretty much done for the season, but they have, if Skeens is shut down, then the pitcher they have pitching tonight is their best pitcher. Pittsburgh is staying on in the Pacific time zone here. They're coming in from L.A. They just got swept by L.A. I don't know if they're going to get up for this game or not, but I just don't really care. I just want this game to go under the total here. San Diego's coming off a good series where they swept the Twins and they're staying at home. San Diego does have more to play for at this point because they're trying to maintain their wild card positioning here. But I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, and I am okay with backing the bullpens. We do have one really good bullpen with San Diego, and they're pretty rested after yesterday. Pittsburgh's bullpen is not as good, obviously, but they kind of just used innings-eating pitchers yesterday, so their better relievers are at least available here. And their ERA is not that bad out of the bullpen, even though they're 23rd. I'm willing to make this a full game play. San Diego is number 7 in bullpen. Their ERA is good. I think they're a little bit better than 7th, of course. So when you have Mason Miller, I mean, you're going to be a top 5 bullpen, and he'll be available in this game today. So if it's a close San Diego lead late, which maybe it could be, that might help us out here. But we're going to back Braxton Ashcraft here. And I backed him in the first 5 the last couple of times, and he's gone deep into those games, man. So I think the last time out I had an under that I gave out, and I believe it was a winner. But Ashcraft went like the full game almost. So Ashcraft is pitching deep into games, and he's pitching efficiently as well. He's got a 3.68 ERA, 1.08 whip. He's been fine on the road, 3.76 road ERA, a little bit higher ERA on the road, but lower opponent batting average. It doesn't really matter. He doesn't have insane splits or anything. He's pitching really well recently. 24-3 strikeout walk ratio this month. He's got at least 8 innings in his last 2 starts, allowing 1 run in each of them. So that's keeping the bullpen from having to get used in his starts. And he's not even throwing that many pitches. He didn't even get to 90 pitches in either of those outings, so that's pretty crazy. He's not walking really anybody right now. He's not allowing a lot of hits either. I mean, this is all really good stuff. Low hit rate, pretty low walk rate, high strikeout rate. The only number he has that's kind of bad is the home runs, but other than that, he's good. He's pitching in a pitcher-friendly park here. One thing you do have to worry about is the innings. He's up to almost 150 here, but he doesn't appear to be slowing down right now, man. So even though he did throw a lot of innings his last 2 outings, he didn't throw that many pitches. Like, it wasn't like he was laboring in those games, really, you know? So I think he's still okay. He's not showing signs that he's fading yet. He's got a 3.68 ERA, 1.08 whip on the season. I think I already said that. Strikeout walk ratio is quite high. That's good. Strikeout per 9, also good. I'm liking what he's throwing down, man. I'm liking all of this. And against San Diego, I know their numbers look all right, but it's because they only have 2 guys who have faced him, 2 at-bats, and they have 1 hit, a double from Fermin, whatever. Yeah, they have a 500 average, 1,500 OPS. I don't care. Like, basically, most of their lineup hasn't seen him, so Ashcraft is pretty unfamiliar to them. 1 strikeout in there from Cronenworth, no walks. But I think Ashcraft should be able to pitch well again here. And I'm actually going to back Robbie Ray on the other side as well, even though I don't think he's that good. 3.2 ERA is pretty good. 1.31 whip is not very good. Indicates his ERA should be higher. However, what we do know about him is he pitches well at home, although I know this is mostly with San Francisco. But San Diego and San Francisco are both pitcher-friendly ballparks, so I think he should be able to pitch well in this park as well. He has a 2.68 home ERA this year, with a low opponent batting average, 202. Since San Diego got him, he was kind of bad in his first start. He walked a ton of guys against Houston. He's been walking too many guys, there's no doubt about that, but he's gotten better in each start at least. He pitched okay here at home, sort of, against Milwaukee. And then he was pretty good against the Mets last time out, although he still walked too many guys. And yes, that worries me. He has more walks than strikeouts since joining San Diego. And I know Pittsburgh is a good offense, but this is a Pittsburgh team that I think might come in here a little bit deflated. Ray does still have a really low hit rate. His problem is the walks. He walks way too many guys. His strikeout rate is also not very good. So obviously his strikeout walk ratio is ugly here. And it is. Strikeout per 9 is also pretty ugly. But I think this is a decent matchup for him. It's at home where he tends to pitch better. At least when he was on San Francisco, he did. And Pittsburgh has not been able to hit him well. They have 39 at-bats against him, 14 strikeouts, 3 walks, 205 average, 493 OPS. And that's most of Pittsburgh's lineup having faced him. So Ray actually does have good numbers against him here. So I say we do it. Let's play the under here in this one. And the bullpen can come in and kind of rescue this thing for San Diego if Ray is starting to struggle a little bit. I think the bullpen can come in and kind of save that side of the game a little bit, maybe pun intended. 61% of tickets on the over, 59% of the cash on the under. Money is agreeing with me on this. 7.5 is out there across the board here. Money's also backing San Diego. I don't really love that. 60% of tickets, 80% of the cash on them. They're at about minus 104 or so here. I think Pittsburgh looks too ugly right now after that loss where they just got swept. Although it was against the Dodgers, so, what can you do? San Diego looks pretty good right now, winning a lot of games right now. Ashcraft is clearly better than Ray, so I think I would lean Pittsburgh first 5 here and go with the better starting pitcher, although they'll probably be a favorite in the first 5, but obviously the way that I'm playing this game is the under. I'm not really going to try to go with a side in this one. Under, I think, is a pretty strong play there. I do have a side in the last game, though. I told you I'm firing a lot of plays out there here. Fox Sports 1, so you get a TV game here. Cincinnati, San Francisco. You know what I'm doing in this game. And you do have to pay for this. But we're going to take Cincinnati in the first 5 with Chase Burns on the mound. You have to lay the minus half a run, though. I found it at minus 105 at the B Gym book, although a lot of the books are minus 115, minus 120 on this. I would still do it that way. I think this is the way to play this game. I think we have a huge starting pitching mismatch here in favor of the Reds, so that's where I'm going to go with this. Plus, it's even better than that. San Francisco's returning home from a road trip. They went to Cleveland and Boston. They had a bad road trip, but San Francisco sucks. Like, they're not going anywhere. Now they're returning home. Are they really going to get excited for playing another shitty team in the Reds? And San Francisco having to travel back home, which is a negative spot, as I always say. You have to get back to home life. They might not get up for a game against a bad team. And they have to travel across time zones here, whereas the Reds have a much better travel spot here because they're coming in from Arizona. So it's a much easier travel spot for Cincinnati where they're only having to move over one time zone, whereas San Francisco's having to travel across 3 and go west and play a late night game when they're adjusted to the East Coast time. Now they have to readjust to Pacific time. Yeah, good luck with that. They're going to be playing, their biological clock is basically going to be like they're playing until midnight here. So it's not good. It's a very negative spot. So I like this combination a lot. Negative spot for a bad team going up against a much stronger starting pitcher on the other side. I'm going to avoid the bullpens, though, because Cincinnati's bullpen is very bad, so I don't want to deal with it. They only used 2 guys out of the bullpen yesterday, though. San Francisco did use 4 because it was a tugboat game, so they did use a bunch of guys behind him. San Francisco's bullpen's not very good. They're 24th, but Cincinnati's even worse at 25th, and their ERA's 0.3 runs worse, so I can't really back their bullpen. Both offenses suck. San Francisco 21st, Cincinnati 24th. I think Cincinnati can get something going a little bit in this game, at least enough that Chase Burns can get us there. Burns has obviously been their best pitcher, 2.51 ERA, 1.11 whip. His innings pitch, we do maybe have to worry a little bit. He's up to 136, so I am backing 2 pitchers today that are throwing more innings than they have before. But he's still pitching well. He's got a pretty good strikeout-walk ratio here. Good strikeout per 9 here. He's still pitching pretty well here. Looking at his recent form, yeah, he's still been in good form recently, so I'm not too worried about that. Really good strikeout walk numbers here over his last couple of starts as well. Cincinnati's winning a lot of his recent games. They've won 6 of his last 8, and actually they've won 10 of his last 12, I think, is what that is. So they're winning when he's out on the mound. He's won a lot of first 5 plays. We've won a couple of first 5 plays with him. He's got a low hit rate. His walk rate is okay enough. Strikeout rate is high, so that's all good. His numbers against San Francisco are fine. I mean, they only have 4 hitters who have faced him. 7 at bats, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk, no extra base hits, 286 average, 661 OPS. So I think that's fine. And Burns is going to be unfamiliar to like half of their lineup too. So I think Burns has the upper hand here. I mean, he's going up against Carson Wisenhunt, who has a 7.03 ERA, 1.84 whip. I mean, this is not good. Even though Wisenhunt has been better at home, 3.86 home ERA, I just don't care. He's still walking a ton of guys. He's had more walks than strikeouts in the month of August. He got obliterated last time out against Cleveland, and they're not a good offense at all. and against Texas, 2 starts before that. One of his last 2, or really 2 of his last 3 home starts haven't even been good either. So I'm not really putting that much weight into his home ERA because he's still putting a lot of guys on base here. He's got a high hit rate, a really high walk rate, like terrible. And his strikeout rate is not even high either. So his strikeout walk ratio is awful. It's like basically around 1, which is terrible. Strikeout per 9, not good either. Yeah, he's not a good pitcher. Cincinnati hasn't really faced him before, so he does have an unfamiliarity edge. But when you're this bad of a pitcher, do you really have that much of an edge? Only Hayes has ever faced him. Not Willie Mays Hayes, Cabrian Hayes. That's the other Ohio team. Hayes is 0 for 2 often with no strikeouts, no walks, whatever. It's a public play, but we'll take Cincinnati in the first 5. They have 88% of the tickets and cash on them. They're about minus 150 something on the full game, but we're doing run line first 5, and the money line has gone up on them. They were minus 130 something, so I think some real money has driven the lineup on Cincinnati, so I think there probably is some actual money on them here, and I just gave you the reasons why. I think it's a situational play plus the way better starter, so let's do it. Lay the half run, Cincinnati first 5. Money's also backing the over 7.5 here. I kind of get it. I mean, 7.5 seems way too low for a game that Wisenhunt is pitching in. And with these 2 bullpens, like the only good pitching here is Burns. All the rest of the pitching is terrible in this game. So I guess there are probably more indicators towards an over than an under, but I'm focusing on the side, of course. Let's do that. And then we're going to have a WNBA play as well. 3 plays in a row. Let's go. I should have just gone with it, but this is the best bet segment. Nobody's going to like this. We're going to take Golden State plus 6.5 in WNBA against Minnesota on USA Network. Minnesota's the best team in the league. I know that, but I think this is a spot play where we can get some value here. We got a low total in this one too. And you know what I always say? The total's really low at 160. Some books have it lower than 160. You know what I always say? When it's a low total, the points are worth more. So taking a big underdog like this, it looks like you have to take a 5.5 now. I think it's still worth it. I mean, not a huge difference between 5.5 and 6.5. 7 is kind of the key number where teams stop potentially fouling. But unfortunately, sometimes I think the real money is agreeing with me. So I think sometimes these lines just move, like really quickly. And by the time I get to it, even on my show, the line will have moved from where it was like an hour ago. You know what I mean? But yeah, Golden State, I think, is the right move to make here. I think we're getting value because the total's so low. Golden State plays good defense, and, I like a good defensive team getting points. Minnesota's also good on defense, and they're a better offensive team probably than Golden State, but Golden State's good, dude. I think Golden State's the 3rd best team in the WNBA behind Minnesota and Las Vegas. The Western Conference is stacked this year. Golden State could definitely hang around in this game, and Minnesota is in a bad spot. They're returning home from a road trip they've been on since August 12th, so they've been on the road for almost 2 weeks, and now they're returning home. I don't think that's a good spot, and they've been all over the place. They went to the West Coast, and they had to go all the way to the East Coast. And by the way, when they were on the West Coast, they won at Golden State by 11. So this is a quick road revenge angle here, where Golden State lost at home, and now they have a chance to exact revenge on the road. I like a spot like that, too. Because the avenging team, it's not like they're angry, but they can make like adjustments to what went wrong in the first game. And the team that won has nothing to adjust. You know what I mean? Plus, Minnesota went over to Washington, and they beat Washington without Collier in the lineup. They rested Collier in that game. Now they're coming back home, and I always talk about this. When a team comes back home, a lot of times they get distracted. They have to get back to home life, whatever. I know it's a TV game, but it could be a distracted spot. They do have to go back out on the road right after this and play Atlanta. And while Golden State's a good team, Atlanta has beaten Minnesota 1 out of 2 times this year. So maybe they do have one eye looking ahead to Atlanta possibly, because I believe Golden State has not beaten them at all this year. Yeah, Minnesota's 3-0 against Golden State this year, but they won at home against them only by 3, and then they won here at Golden State by 6, and then at Golden State by 11 last time. But if you look at that game, it was kind of misleading. So this is another reason why I like this. Like, it was just, the shooting was a complete outlier here. Minnesota shot 50% from the field, while Golden State was 32%. and it was 37% to 19% from three-point range. Golden State was just firing up a bunch of threes. So there were some mega outliers in this game, and Minnesota also was +5 from the free throw line. Golden State actually won the rebound battle, believe it or not. And they did win the turnover battle as well, which I don't know if that's going to happen again here. Probably not. But the fact that Golden State won the rebound battle, tells me that they actually played pretty well in this game. Golden State played better than it looks like on the scoreboard. And these are just outlier shooting percentages, man. Like, I don't think Minnesota's going to shoot this well in a game where they're having to return home from a long road trip. They might be a bit fatigued. They might be a bit distracted, so I think Minnesota's shooting will take a little bit of a step back here. Golden State probably will improve on the shooting performance last time, and you couldn't really shoot much worse than this, and they're not really that bad of an offensive team, so I think Golden State could shoot better here as well. Minnesota might not pay attention to them because they won this game easily. They had a huge lead throughout the game. Golden State did get back to within single digits, though, late in the game. Collier did play in this game. She is back here, but that's another thing here. Collier was out against Washington, and if you remember me handicapping that game, I leaned Washington, but I had some issues with it because the line had dropped like 4 points because Collier was out of the lineup. And, Minnesota, it might have been like a sort of an injured player theory type of game, right, where Minnesota figured we have to play harder with our best player out of the lineup, right? A lot of times that happens. Well, then what happens the next game? If they play well and they win, yeah, well, the next game, Collier's coming back. That's going to be another lineup shift. And maybe Minnesota will be thinking, well, we just won without her, so of course we can win with her, right? It's like that reverse injured player mindset where when your star player's coming back, you have to kind of make the lineup adjustments again. And you might be thinking, well, of course this is going to be easy with her back. So I think they might take this game a little bit too lightly. And meanwhile, Golden State, I like the spot that they're in because they just had an ugly loss to Chicago, who is on my really bad side right now after yesterday. Although it was mostly that Indiana just couldn't miss in the game. But Golden State, they're on a 2-game losing streak, which started with that loss to Minnesota. But you got to think they were hung over going to Chicago after that. I don't think it was a good spot for Golden State, right? Because they'd lost a 6-game win streak. And a lot of times when that happens, you get hung over in the next game. And I think maybe they were in a Minnesota sandwich, too. Like I said, a juicy-loosey. So not only did they lose to Minnesota and lose a win streak, they had this Minnesota game next, too. So I think it was a bad spot. They went into Chicago. They got caught. I think the only reason I didn't play Chicago in that game, I think it was because Chicago was coming off a big upset themselves. I want to say over New York or something like that. But whatever. I think Golden State's in a bounce-back spot here, man. You can explain why they lost to Chicago. It was a sandwich spot. I think they're going to flip it back around and play well in this game. I say we do it. We take Golden State plus the points here. The money is very strongly agreeing with this. 82% of tickets on Minnesota, 90% of the cash on Golden State. I know my WNBA is bad right now. It's basically been bad since I was hot at the beginning of the season. We've had some real bullshit losses in there, though, man. And the market is more often right than it's wrong. This is a strong market read here. It's a total pros versus Joes scenario here. Yeah, Golden State plus the points, man. At least find the 5.5 on this. I don't think you're going to get 6.5 anymore, but hopefully there's not much of a difference there. And put a little bit on the money line as well, but it's a low total, like I said. So I like taking these defensive dogs in low total games, you know what I mean? Because they have more of a chance to hang around in the game. The other game I got not a whole lot on, Atlanta and LA on Peacock and NBC Sports. LA is playing some real bad basketball. They did win their last game against Connecticut, so there is that. Connecticut, bad team, though. But the good thing for LA is they ended a 6-game losing streak. So a lot of times when you end a losing streak, you're going to play better in the next game. And by the way, the last time they lost before that was an embarrassing loss to this exact Atlanta team, also in LA, although I think that maybe I don't remember correctly. Oh no, the neutral site game was this one against Phoenix. I was going to say there was a neutral site game in here, but no, I think this was on LA's home floor. They lost to Atlanta, so now they're returning right back to the scene of the crime, and LA's just staying at home here. And they just ended a losing streak. And the last time they played Atlanta, they lost 124-88 here in the same stadium. But look at what happened in this game, dude. Atlanta shot 64% from the field and 62% from three-point range. Come on. Like, that is completely unsustainable. That's not going to happen again. So, yeah, I mean, Atlanta's a little bit more of a defensive team, too, but those are massive outliers. If any team shoots like that in the WNBA, you can't repeat that. Even if LA's defense is really bad, and it is, there's no way that can be repeated. So this game was just a massive outlier. Atlanta had, 6 more threes than LA did. Although Atlanta was still the better team. Like, they won the rebound battle. They kind of dominated the game as well. They had more field goal attempts by 11. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not ready to actually say I want to actually make a play on LA in the game today, but that is the way that I'd be leaning if I was going to play this, because this is not repeatable. Like, there's going to be some regression here. Is it going to be enough regression that LA can actually cover today? I don't know. This number was 8.5 on the spread here. I think it's higher than that in the game today. I think it's like 9.5. So it might be a little bit of value on LA, but LA is still not a good team. They're not good at home. Atlanta is good on the road. However, after a game like this, again, there's got to be some regression here. Back to a sort of mean. LA had a ton of turnovers, too. They had 21 turnovers. And even a team that's a bad team like LA at home, you're probably not going to have a repeat performance of that. They're probably not going to turn it over that many times again. Now, Atlanta, they're coming off a win over Phoenix, which I believe the Green Dildos are back, by the way. The Green Dildo might have come back in the LA game. I forget. Green Dildos are back, though, man. One got thrown out onto the court, and Angel Reese was, like, pointing out somebody in the crowd that was potentially the thrower of it. I was like, let's get the Green Dildo betting back, man. The Green Dildos are the only reason to watch this league. That, and maybe if men start playing it and the league just totally collapses because of it, that would be hilarious. Anyway, Atlanta, they're finishing a road trip. They're already 3-0 on the road trip. They beat Vegas, huge win. They crushed this LA team, like I said, so they might not care about this LA game here. They just beat Phoenix in the last game, which was not a great win, but a fine win. Yeah, I mean, they don't have a big game next against Portland, but I still think the only way I would play this is to look towards LA in a little bit of a revenge spot, bounce back spot. The money is completely disagreeing with me, and I don't understand it at all. 9.5, 10 is sort of where the number is now, and it was 8.5 in that game 2 games ago with the same teams in the same location. So I think you're getting a little bit of extra value if you look towards LA too. It's a bit of a zigzag. LA, 60% of tickets on them. There's no way the public is playing LA here. I'm sorry. It's just not possible. And 88% of the cash on Atlanta, I don't get it. I don't see any real reason to look towards Atlanta here. 9.5, like I said, or 10 is the number. The total is high, though. Money is sort of driving it down a little bit, but it's still in the 180s. I'm not totally interested in doing it because it's still a mismatch. I mean, Atlanta still won that game, even though on the scoreboard they won the game by like 30 points or almost 40 points or whatever it was, and they probably should have won the game by like 15 or something like that if you look at the stats, but that still would have covered this number, so that still has me worried. As much of an outlier as it was, and as much of a blowout as it was, Atlanta is still definitely the better team by quite a bit here. I lean towards LA, but I don't like it that much. I like Golden State a lot better, so that is what I'm doing in the WNBA, but I like both underdogs. That's going to do it. The plays today are under in Red Sox Marlins, under 7.5. Under in Pirates Padres, under 7.5. Cincinnati Reds first 5, minus the half run on the run line. And then we're going to take Golden State plus 6.5. This is a bigger Monday card than I've had in quite a while. Monday's usually a slow day, but I see a lot of angles here that I like well enough. So maybe I'm on tilt. Let's go 3-1 today, man. Let's at least try to do that. That's the goal, at least. Let's get it done. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Like, subscribe to the channel here, and you'll get notified when I go live. College football preview is coming up next. I keep saying I'm going to do it. I have to do it at some point this week. I mean, maybe I'll do it today because Monday's just slow. So maybe I'll just do it. I got to get prepared for it, though. I got to bring up all the, the numbers about the returning players, and it's total chaos, but I'm not going to give out any plays on that show. It's just a preview to try to get the, understand the college landscape we're going to be dealing with this year. And we'll have to talk about the conference realignments as well, because those are pretty major this year as well. What else? we're on audio, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker. Those numbers are going up, so you can help me out listening over there. I want to get the YouTube numbers up too, though, man. People don't like listening to my long-form bullshit here, but if I'm giving out winners, I mean, I know we're on a really bad run right now. It does happen sometimes. This overall run that I have up here is still profitable, you know what I mean? Above profitable. It's better than that, so what else do we have here? Loser cast every Tuesday night, so that'll be back tomorrow night. I have no idea who my loser is going to be this week. New York Giants G-Spot podcast should be getting going once the football season is actually starting. I know we're in preseason right now, but we'll see. I will have an NFL preview again at some point, and probably an episode with Clint at some point for Bald. So be on the lookout for that. If you subscribe, you get notified for that. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel on YouTube. Ukulele covers and originals. You can check that out. And patreon.com/LearnToToad if you want to support me that way. That's going to do it. Let's start off the week right. Let's turn this fucking thing around. We were good last week, and then we had a horrible weekend. So we got to turn it around. That's going to do it. Peace.
If the dark starts talking, hand me the phone. Let somebody answer, let somebody know. You do not have to lose this round alone. Hold on, not tonight, not now. You're still here now.